The cosmic energies of Castle Grayskull had witnessed countless battles across millennia, but none quite like the desperate struggle unfolding within its ancient halls. Skeletor, the overlord of evil, gripped his havoc staff with skeletal fingers as mystical energy coursed through the chamber. He-Man's sword clashed against dark sorcery in a blinding display, each impact sending shockwaves through reality itself. But Skeletor had learned patience through repeated failures. This time, he wasn't trying to steal Grayskull's power. He was redirecting it. "You cannot win, Skeletor." He-Man's voice echoed off stone walls older than Eternian civilization. The skull-faced sorcerer's laugh reverberated with genuine amusement. "Win, fool! I'm not trying to win. I'm leaving." The Havoc staff struck the floor with a crack of thunder. Ancient sigils blazed to life as Skeletor channeled every ounce of dark magic he possessed into a singular, desperate gambit. If he couldn't conquer Eternia, he would find a universe he could rule. Castle Grayskull's dimensional barriers, designed to contain cosmic power, became instead a doorway when deliberately shattered from within. Reality screamed. Space-time tore open like fabric, revealing a swirling vortex of impossible colors. He-Man lunged forward, but too late. Skeletor, Evil-Lyn, Beast-Man, Trapjaw, Tri-Klops, and Mer-Man were pulled into the dimensional breach, along with a portion of Snake Mountain itself. Stone machinery and dark sorcery ripped from Eternia and hurled across the multiverse. The journey lasted both an instant and an eternity. When the cosmic maelstrom finally released them, they crashed into a new reality with devastating force. The planet Sereno had known peace for approximately 6 hours, a rarity during the Clone Wars. Count Dooku's ancestral homeworld maintained its aristocratic elegance despite the galaxy-wide conflict, its rolling hills and elegant estates a testament to old-world refinement. The Separatist presence was minimal here, relegated to a small garrison monitoring supply routes. That piece shattered at 03:37 local time. A section of Snake Mountain, complete with its twisted architecture and dark battlements, materialized 300 meters above Dooku's family estate. The dimensional breach deposited tons of Eternian stone and technology with explosive force, carving a crater into the hillside and sending shockwaves across the countryside. Alarms blared. Separatist sensors went haywire, and in the settling dust, something ancient and terrible stirred. Skeletor rose from the rubble, Havoc staff still clutched in his bony hand. His yellow eyes surveyed the alien landscape. Unfamiliar constellations, strange architecture, the acrid smell of exotic technology. He felt it immediately. Power. Different from Eternia's magic, yet somehow compatible. It flowed through this reality like an invisible current, touching everything. Where are we? Evil-Lyn emerged from the debris, her mystical senses already probing their surroundings. Unlike her master's raw power approach, she preferred knowledge and preparation. Somewhere new, Skeletor growled, his voice carrying that distinctive rasp that had terrorized Eternia for years. Somewhere ripe for conquest. Beastman stumbled out, his savage features confused and angry. No smell, Eternia. Where He-Man? Gone, behind us. Irrelevant. Skeletor strode to the crater's edge, cape billowing in this world's wind. In the distance, lights approached. Vehicles of some kind, primitive repulsor craft by Eternian standards, but serviceable. We are free of that accursed planet and its so-called hero. This realm will be ours. Trapjaw's mechanical jaw clicked as he tested his weapon arm. Systems operational. Energy readings normal. Whatever this place is, our tech still works. As does my magic, Evil-Lyn confirmed, mystic energy crackling between her fingers. But her expression was troubled. Master, I sense something vast here. A power that permeates everything. We should proceed with caution until... Caution. Skeletor's laugh echoed across the crater. I've spent years being cautious on Eternia, constantly thwarted by He-Man and his nauseating heroism. Here, we start fresh. Here, we have the advantage of surprise. And here, he raised the Havoc staff, dark energy swirling around its tip. I sense no He-Man to stop us. Tri-Klops activated his three-eyed helmet's various vision modes, scanning the approaching vehicles. Armed forces incoming. Mechanical warriors inside. No, wait. Actual machines. Sentient droids of some kind. Droids? Mer-Man hissed, his aquatic features reflecting confusion. Like the Rotans. More advanced, Tri-Klops confirmed, but their weapons are energy-based. Comparable to Eternian blast technology. Skeletor's grin would have been visible if he'd possessed lips. Then let's introduce ourselves. Evil warriors. Show these machines what true power looks like. The Separatist patrol speeders arrived to find not refugees or crash survivors, but conquerors. Beastman's roar summoned local wildlife, creatures the droids had no protocols for handling. Trap Jaw's laser cannon arm carved through droid armor like parchment. Mer-Man's trident channeled power in ways that overloaded droid circuits. And when the tactical droid called for reinforcements, Evil-Lyn's sorcery turned their own speeder against them. Within minutes, the patrol was scrap metal. Skeletor examined a droid's severed head, yellow eyes studying the primitive technology with contempt. Machines given sentience. How charmingly inefficient. He crushed it beneath his boot. But useful. They serve masters. That means this world has rulers. And rulers, his skeletal hand clenched, can be overthrown. Master, Evil-Lyn interrupted, her mystical senses sharp. Something approaches. Something powerful. Not mechanical. The energy I sensed earlier, it's coming directly toward us. In the distance, a sleek ship descended from orbit. Its design spoke of wealth and refinement. And aboard it, Count Dooku felt the dark side of the Force roiling with unprecedented intensity. This disturbance had drawn Darth Sidious's attention immediately, and Dooku knew his master would demand answers. Skeletor watched the ship land with predatory interest. Good. Let them come. It's time to learn the rules of this new game. He planted the Havoc staff before him, and then we'll break them. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. May the Force be with you. The evil warriors assembled behind their master as the ship's boarding ramp lowered. Whatever emerged from that vessel would determine their first move in a galaxy they intended to conquer, one way or another. The ship's boarding ramp revealed not an army, but a single figure. Tall, regal bearing, silver beard, immaculately groomed, wearing robes that spoke of both aristocracy and war. Count Dooku descended with the measured confidence of someone who had commanded respect for decades. His hand rested casually near his lightsaber hilt, not threatening, merely prepared. Behind him, tactical droids maintained formation with military precision, but Dooku raised one hand. Hold position. I will speak with our visitors, alone. Skeletor's yellow eyes narrowed with interest. This one was different from the machine soldiers. Power radiated from him like heat from flame, subtle but undeniable. It resonated with the strange energy Skeletor had felt permeating this reality, and with the dark magic flowing through his own bones. "I am Count Dooku of Sereno," the aristocrat announced, his cultured voice carrying across the crater. "You have damaged my family's estate and destroyed separatist military assets. Normally, such aggression would be met with immediate retaliation." He paused, studying the bizarre figures before him. A walking skeleton, wielding a staff of dark power. Warriors whose appearance defied conventional understanding. "However, I find myself curious. What manner of beings are you? And how did you arrive on my world?" Skeletor stepped forward, the Havoc staff thrumming with power. "I am Skeletor, overlord of evil, master of the dark arts, and future ruler of—" He gestured broadly at the alien sky. "Whatever this pathetic galaxy calls itself. These are my evil warriors. As for how we arrived, we tore a hole through reality itself to escape our previous universe. Dimensional travelers," Dooku mused, stroking his beard. Through the Force, he felt the wrongness emanating from this skeletal creature. Dark power, but not precisely the dark side. Something adjacent, something dangerous. "Fascinating. And you speak of conquest with remarkable confidence for someone who just crash-landed on an unfamiliar world." "Confidence born from certainty," Skeletor replied, his voice dripping with arrogance. "I've toppled kingdoms, commanded armies, wielded power beyond your comprehension. This galaxy, whatever its scale, will fall before me just as Eternia should have." Evil-Lyn stepped beside her master, her voice more measured. "Lord Dooku, my master speaks from enthusiasm. Perhaps we might discuss the nature of this reality before declarations of conquest. We find ourselves in unknown territory, and would appreciate context." Skeletor shot her a withering glare, but Evil-Lyn maintained her composure. She'd served him long enough to know when recklessness needed tempering. This Count Dooku was no ordinary ruler. The power she sensed from him suggested abilities comparable to their own. Dooku's expression showed the faintest hint of amusement. "At least one of you possesses wisdom. Very well. You've arrived during what we call the Clone Wars, a galactic conflict between the Republic and the Confederacy of Independent Systems, which I lead. Your display of power against my droids, while primitive, demonstrates potential utility." His eyes locked onto Skeletor's burning yellow gaze. "I suspect you'll find this galaxy far more complex than whatever single planet you failed to conquer in your home dimension." The insult struck home. Skeletor's grip on the Havoc staff tightened, dark energy crackling along its length. "Failed? I am Skeletor. I have failed," Dooku interrupted calmly. "You said, should have fallen, implying it did not. You fled rather than face whatever opposition existed there. Now you arrive here, damaged and disoriented, declaring conquest over a galaxy containing trillions of beings, millions of worlds, and powers you cannot yet comprehend." He took a step closer, his presence radiating absolute confidence. "But I'm not here to mock your ambitions. I'm here to offer you a place in something greater than yourself." Above them, hidden in Sereno's cloud layer, a dozen probe droids recorded every moment. Dooku's personal security had already transmitted footage to Separatist intelligence. Within the hour, holographic images of Skeletor and his warriors would reach Admiral Trench, General Grievous, and the Separatist Council. And within 3 hours, they would reach someone far more important. Tri-Klops activated his scanner vision, analyzing the technology around them. "Master Skeletor, Their communications networks are extensive. We're being monitored by at least 15 observation devices in our immediate vicinity. Let them watch, Skeletor growled. Let this entire galaxy witness the arrival of Skeletor. Beastman shuffled closer, his savage instincts on edge. Not like Eternia. Too big. Too many strange smells. Beastman not understand. Trapjaw's mechanical jaw clicked repeatedly. His nervous habit. Systems are picking up massive energy signatures across this planet. Whatever tech base they have, it's everywhere. Billions of connected devices.
A galactic civilization.
Evil-Lyn breathed, her mystical senses finally grasping the scale. She turned to Skeletor, urgency in her voice. Master, we need to understand this place before we act. This isn't Eternia with its city-states and kingdoms. This is something magnitudes larger. All the more reason to seize control now, before they organize against us, Skeletor snapped, but doubt flickered behind his eyes, just for a moment. Eternia had been his obsession for years, and he'd never succeeded despite his power. What chance did he have against an entire galaxy? Dooku sensed the hesitation and pressed his advantage. Join the Confederacy, Skeletor. Lend us your unique abilities in exchange for resources, knowledge, and position. Once the Republic falls, the galaxy will be reorganized under new leadership. Leadership that could include someone of your talents. You would make me your subordinate. Skeletor's voice was dangerous. I would make you my ally. Dooku corrected smoothly. For now, what you become afterward depends entirely on your competence. He activated his comm link. I'm transmitting coordinates to a facility where you can rest and regroup. Consider my offer, or refuse and face the combined military might of the Confederacy as enemies. His hand drifted to his lightsaber. I can arrange a demonstration of our capabilities if you require convincing. The two powerful beings faced each other across the crater. One skeletal sorcerer from a dimension of magic and muscle. One aristocratic Sith Lord from a galaxy of technology and the Force. Both radiated dark power. Both were accustomed to command. Both recognized the other as potentially useful or potentially dangerous. Skeletor's laugh broke the tension. Very well, Count. I will see your facilities and hear your proposal. But know this, Skeletor serves no one. If I join your confederacy, it will be as partner, not pawn. Naturally, Dooku replied with aristocratic grace. I would expect nothing less from someone who tears holes in reality. Come, we have much to discuss. As Dooku returned to his ship, Evil-Lyn leaned close to Skeletor. Master, this is dangerous. We don't understand the powers at work here. Which is precisely why I will accept his hospitality, Skeletor murmured. Learn everything, Evil-Lyn. Their technology, their politics, their weaknesses. And then his skeletal fingers clenched. We'll take it all. The Separatist facility on Sereno's northern continent was a fortress disguised as a research complex. Dooku had led them to a vast training arena, a circular chamber lined with durasteel walls and energy shields designed to contain weapon tests. The evil warriors spread out across the space, examining the alien technology with varying degrees of interest and suspicion. Impressive, Evil-Lyn admitted, her fingers tracing glowing control panels. Energy manipulation at scales we never achieved on Eternia. Crude in some ways, but the sheer power output is remarkable. Trapjaw had already started dismantling a deactivated battle droid, his mechanical brain cataloging components. Targeting systems are inferior to Eternian tech, but their power cells are efficient. Could integrate some of this into my weapon arms. Dooku observed them with calculated interest, his hands clasped behind his back. You adapt quickly, but I find myself wondering. Your master claims great power, yet I've seen only the destruction of patrol droids. Impressive against machines, certainly. But this galaxy contains threats far beyond simple programming. Skeletor turned from examining the arena, his yellow eyes gleaming with dangerous amusement. You doubt me, Count? You think your civilized weapons and orderly soldiers make you superior to the overlord of evil? I think, Dooku replied carefully, that confidence without demonstration is merely arrogance. I've encountered many beings who proclaim themselves powerful. Most are dust now. He unclipped his lightsaber hilt, the curved design, elegant in his palm. Perhaps a test of capabilities? Nothing fatal, merely educational. The arena's energy shields hummed to life, containing the space. Evil-Lyn's eyes widened. Master, we still don't understand. Silence. Skeletor's voice cut through her warning. He stepped into the arena's center, the Havoc staff planted before him. You want a demonstration, aristocrat? Very well. I'll show you why galaxies should tremble at my name. Dooku ignited his lightsaber. The crimson blade cast red shadows across the chamber, its distinctive hum filling the air. Fascinating weapon, Skeletor observed. Contained plasma held in magnetic suspension. Elegant, but predictable. Form 2, Makashi style, Dooku explained as he adopted his dueling stance. Refined, precise, every movement economical. The gentleman's form, perfected over decades against the finest duelists in the galaxy. He extended his free hand and force lightning crackled across his fingertips. Combined with the dark side of the Force, it has proven quite effective. Skeletor's laugh echoed off the walls. Force. Dark side. Count, where I come from, we simply call it power. He raised the Havoc staff, and dark energy erupted in response. Not Force lightning, but something primal and chaotic. Raw magical fury that bent reality around it. The two energies collided mid-arena with explosive force. Dooku's Force lightning was refined, controlled, channeled through decades of Sith training. Skeletor's sorcery was wild, ancient, pulled from wells of darkness that predated civilizations. They were similar in nature. Both drew from malevolent sources, but fundamentally different in application. The Count's expression shifted from confidence to genuine surprise as his lightning failed to overwhelm the magical assault. Instead, the two powers wrestled in the space between them, neither giving ground. Impossible, Dooku breathed. You're not force-sensitive, yet you manipulate energy as if I've mastered dark arts while you were still learning to walk. Skeletor snarled. He swept the Havoc staff in an arc, and his sorcery transformed. Instead of opposing Dooku's lightning, it redirected it, sending crackling energy toward the arena walls. The shields absorbed the impact, but just barely. Dooku leaped forward with force-enhanced speed, his lightsaber striking at Skeletor's defenses. The blade met a hastily conjured barrier of mystical energy, and to his shock, the barrier held. Lightsaber plasma hissed against magical force, neither penetrating the other. Your blade cannot cut what sorcery protects, Skeletor declared. He thrust the Havoc staff forward, and tendrils of dark magic lashed out like living chains. Dooku deflected them with his lightsaber, each impact sending sparks flying. His centuries of experience showed as he wove between attacks, his form's true precision, finding gaps in Skeletor's more aggressive assault. But the sheer variety of magical attacks forced him to adapt constantly. Tendrils became blasts. Blasts became seeking projectiles. Projectiles became walls of force. You fight well for someone who relies on a single weapon. Skeletor admitted grudgingly. His staff traced complex patterns in the air, each gesture conjuring new threats. And you command impressive power for someone who lost his original face, Dooku replied coolly. His lightsaber hummed as it carved through another magical attack. Tell me, what happened to the man beneath that skull? The question struck deeper than any blade. Skeletor's response was immediate and furious. Insolent fool! He slammed the Havoc staff down, and the entire arena floor buckled. Mystical energy exploded outward in a shockwave that even the Force couldn't fully mitigate. Dooku skidded backward, his boots leaving trails on the durasteel. His free hand extended, and he seized Skeletor with telekinetic force, the signature power of the Sith. But instead of lifting the skeletal sorcerer, he found himself straining against magical resistance. Skeletor's feet remained planted, his power anchoring him to reality itself. Your invisible grip is clever, Skeletor growled through the Force choke attempt, but I've resisted the cosmic power of Castle Grayskull. Your parlor tricks mean nothing. He thrust both hands forward, and purple lightning, distinctly different from Force, lightning erupted from his fingertips. The two combatants stood locked in a contest of pure power. Dooku's refined Sith abilities against Skeletor's raw magical might. The arena's shields began to overload, klaxons blaring as energy readings spiked dangerously. Enough! Evil-Lyn's voice cut through the chaos. She stood at the arena's edge, her own magic weaving a dampening field. Master, you've proven your point. And Count Dooku, her eyes narrowed. You've tested us sufficiently. Both warriors held their positions for another heartbeat, before simultaneously withdrawing their power. The arena fell silent, except for the cooling hum of overtaxed shields. Dooku deactivated his lightsaber, his breathing slightly elevated. Remarkable. Your power is genuine, crude, unrefined, but devastatingly effective. You could indeed be a valuable asset to the Confederacy. Skeletor's laugh was darker now, edged with genuine respect. And your technique is formidable, Count. With abilities like yours, no wonder you lead armies. He leaned on the Havoc staff, pretending the exchange hadn't taxed him. But know this, I fought you to a standstill. Imagine what my evil warriors and I could accomplish against your enemies. Or against my allies, Dooku observed quietly, which is precisely why we need terms. Clear agreements about our partnership. Beastman had watched the entire display with savage fascination. Master Skeletor strong, like facing He-Man. Stronger, Tri-Klops corrected, his analytical mind processing what he'd witnessed. That aristocrat's energy weapon and invisible force would have defeated most Eternian warriors. But Master Skeletor matched him. Dooku's comlink chirped. He listened briefly, his expression neutral, then spoke. It seems our demonstration drew attention. Admiral Trench requests a holographic conference within the hour. The Separatist leadership wishes to meet you personally, Skeletor. As they should, Skeletor replied, straightening his posture. After all, they're about to gain the most powerful ally in their war. Or the most dangerous enemy, Dooku added softly. Let us hope your ambitions align with our objectives, for both our sakes. The holographic chamber cast blue light across Skeletor's skeletal features as 4 massive projections materialized. Admiral Trench, a spider-like arch with mechanical enhancements, clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. General Grievous, the cyborg general, assessed the evil warriors with predatory interest. Wat Tambor of the Techno-Union spoke in processed tones through his vocabulator, while Newt Gunray of the Trade Federation shifted nervously. Most unusual, Trench hissed, his mechanical eyes focusing on Skeletor. Count Dooku report you destroyed a patrol with primitive weapons and magic. Magic is merely power that lesser minds fail to comprehend, Skeletor replied coolly. Your droid soldiers fell before us like wheat before a scythe. Imagine what we could accomplish against your Republic enemies. Grievous leaned forward, his vocabulator rasping, bold words. But I have killed many Jedi who thought themselves powerful. What makes you different from the corpses in my collection? Beastman growled at the implied threat, but Evil-Lyn placed a restraining hand on his shoulder. Skeletor merely smiled, or would have if his skull face permitted such expressions. The difference, General, is that I'm still standing here while countless others who challenge me are dust. Your mechanical body is impressive, but I've faced far worse on Eternia. The Republic's clone army numbers in the millions, Wat Tambor noted in his mechanical voice. Their Jedi generals possess abilities your world has never encountered. How would your evil warriors contribute strategically? Trapjaw stepped forward, his mechanical jaw clicking. My weapon systems can adapt to any combat scenario. Give me access to your technology, and I'll triple my offensive capabilities within days. I command beasts, Beastman added simply. All creatures obey Beastman. Your worlds have animals. And I, Evil-Lyn interjected smoothly, possess mystical abilities that can penetrate defenses your enemies have never encountered. Force users rely on their abilities. Imagine their confusion when faced with power that operates outside their understanding. The Separatist leadership exchanged glances through the holographic connection. Dooku observed the proceedings with aristocratic patience, but his mind was elsewhere. In exactly 17 minutes, he would need to contact his true master, Darth Sidious, and report this unprecedented development. Very well, Newt Gunray finally spoke, his nervousness evident. The Separatist Council authorizes a trial deployment. You will accompany our forces to the Republic outpost on Ryloth's moon. If you prove effective, we will discuss further arrangements. The holograms flickered and vanished. Skeletor turned to Dooku with satisfaction. See, they recognize power when it stands before them. They recognize utility, Dooku corrected. Prove yourself useful, and doors will open. Fail, and you'll find this galaxy has efficient methods for disposing of liabilities. He checked his chronometer. I must attend to other matters. Evil-Lyn, I trust you'll ensure your master doesn't destroy our facility before deployment. Evil-Lyn inclined her head. We understand temporary cooperation, Count. My master's ambitions are long-term. Once Dooku departed, she turned to Skeletor with urgent concern. Master, this is happening too quickly. We should learn more before committing to battle. We learn by doing, Skeletor snapped. Every conquest begins with a single victory. Let them see what we're capable of. Then they'll fear us. And fear is the foundation of control. In his private chambers, Dooku activated the holographic transmitter using frequencies known to only two beings in the galaxy. The hooded figure that materialized was darkness incarnate, Darth Sidious, Sith Lord, and secret Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. Master, Dooku greeted, kneeling. An unprecedented situation has developed. I am aware, Sidious's voice was a serpentine hiss. I felt the disturbance in the Force, a corruption, but not of the dark side. Something adjacent. Explain. Dooku recounted the arrival, the battle in the arena, Skeletor's powers. As he spoke, Sidious's expression grew darker. Dimensional travelers, the Sith Lord mused, wielding power outside the Force entirely. This complicates matters, Lord Tyrannus. My plans have been cultivated for decades. A grand plan that balances thousands of variables with precision. This Skeletor is a wild element I did not account for. He's powerful, but arrogant, Dooku offered. His previous attempt at conquest failed. With proper manipulation. Manipulation? Sidious's tone grew sharp. You faced him, apprentice. Could you have defeated him? Dooku hesitated. That moment of doubt was answer enough. I thought not, Sidious continued. His power rivals yours, perhaps exceeds it in raw force. And unlike you, he has no master to restrain his ambitions. The Sith Lord was silent for a moment, calculating. He is either a tool to be used or a threat to be eliminated. Deploy him against the Republic. Let the Jedi encounter his sorcery. If he weakens them, excellent. If the Jedi destroy him, equally acceptable. If he proves too dangerous. The hologram's eyes glowed yellow. Then you will kill him yourself. And if he proves too powerful for me alone, then I will attend to the matter personally. Sidious's voice carried absolute finality. But Lord Tyrannus, watch him carefully. His Evil-Lyn counsels caution, which suggests intelligence. Skeletor himself is a megalomaniac, but one who has survived defeats. That makes him dangerous. The moment he becomes more liability than asset, end him. Yes, my master. The hologram vanished, leaving Dooku alone with troubling thoughts. He had sensed Skeletor's power firsthand, chaotic, unpredictable, devastating. If the skeletal sorcerer truly set his sights on galactic conquest, would even the Sith be able to stop him? Or worse, would Skeletor see Palpatine's grand plan and decide to seize it for himself? In the training facility, Skeletor stood before a holographic display of the galaxy, his yellow eyes tracking the countless star systems with predatory hunger. Soon, he whispered to himself, the Republic outpost very soon, they'll all kneel before Skeletor, listening post. 300 clone troopers, a handful of officers, and enough sensor equipment to monitor separatist movements across 6 sectors. Captain Rex had commanded worse positions, but he didn't like the exposed nature of the facility. Too many approaches, too few defensible choke points. Sir, sensors are picking up an incoming separatist fleet, his communications officer reported. Smaller than usual attack patterns. 3 frigates and multiple landing craft. Rex studied the tactical display with practiced efficiency. Standard assault pattern, ready defensive positions, and contact General Skywalker. We can hold until reinforcements. The first landing craft touched down, and Rex's tactical assumptions shattered. Beastman emerged roaring, his savage cry echoing across the lunar surface. Within seconds, every creature on the moon, from the docile Kybox to predatory lilacs, stampeded toward the Republic position. Clones opened fire, but Beastman's horde crashed into their defensive lines with overwhelming ferocity. What the contact? Multiple hostiles. Rex's voice barked over comms. Not droids, unknown biological combatants. Trapjaw's mechanical form bounded over a barricade, his laser cannon arm obliterating a heavy weapon's emplacement. Clones concentrated fire on him, but his reinforced armor absorbed blaster bolts that would have dropped a standard battle droid. His interchangeable arms switched rapidly, laser to grappling hook to plasma blade, each transformation bringing new devastation. Focus fire on the cyborg, Rex commanded. A dozen clones targeted Trapjaw simultaneously, their disciplined volleys finally forcing him to take cover. But that moment of concentrated fire left them exposed. Evil-Lyn's sorcery struck like invisible lightning. Clone troopers found their blasters turning inexplicably hot, forcing them to drop weapons. Others staggered as mystical energy assaulted their minds, not the subtle influence of Jedi mind tricks, but raw magical assault that bypassed their training entirely. "We're taking casualties," a lieutenant shouted. "These aren't droids. They're fighting like..." Tri-Klops' triple-barreled blaster carved through the communications array with surgical precision. His 3 eyes, each with different visual capabilities, allowed him to target weak points the clones hadn't realized existed. Infrared revealed troopers hiding behind cover. X-ray vision spotted officers coordinating defense. And his tactical eye calculated firing solutions faster than any droid processor. The Republic defenders were seasoned veterans of the Clone Wars, trained to face overwhelming droid armies and separatist tactics. But the evil warriors fought with savage unpredictability that shattered standard defensive protocols. They weren't programmed battle droids following attack patterns. They were warriors with initiative, creativity, and brutal effectiveness. Captain Rex rallied his troops near the command center. "Thermal detonators on my mark. Concentrated fire sector 7. The clones responded with practiced efficiency, their detonators creating a killing zone that caught Beastman's controlled creatures in a devastating explosion. Beastman howled in fury, but Skeletor's voice cut through the chaos. "Enough playing. End this." The Overlord of Evil strode across the battlefield as if he owned it. Blaster fire converged on his position, but the Havoc staff traced a circle in the air, and mystical shields deflected every bolt. Skeletor raised his free hand, and purple lightning erupted toward the command center. Rex dove aside as the lightning struck, but 3 of his men weren't fast enough. They collapsed, armor smoking, nervous systems overwhelmed by magical energy that shouldn't exist in this galaxy. "Fall back," Rex ordered, tactical instinct overriding pride. "Regroup at secondary position. Call for..." Mer-Man erupted from the moon's subsurface water reserves, hidden aquifers that geological surveys had documented but considered irrelevant. His trident channeled power through the water, creating pressure waves that buckled defensive walls. Clones scrambled as their fortifications literally melted beneath aquatic assault. Within 15 minutes of initial contact, the Republic outpost was in full retreat. Within 30, it had fallen completely. Aboard the Separatist Command frigate, General Grievous watched the battle footage with grudging respect. Effective, brutal, wasteful of resources, but effective. His mechanical eyes focused on Skeletor's image. The clones fought well, yet these evil warriors overwhelmed them through sheer aggression. More than aggression, Dooku observed. Adaptation. When standard tactics failed, they improvised. That aquatic warrior using subsurface water as a weapon. None of our tactical databases predicted that approach. Because it's insane, Grievous growled. But insanity that works is merely unconventional strategy. On the lunar surface, Skeletor surveyed his conquest with satisfaction. Republic equipment lay in ruins. Clone prisoners were being processed by battle droids. And most importantly, the galaxy now knew his name. Evil-Lyn approached cautiously. "Master, we succeeded. But these clone soldiers fought with discipline we rarely faced on Eternia. And their weapons," she gestured to scorch marks on Beastman's armor, "are quite effective when concentrated." "Yet they lost," Skeletor declared, "as all will lose before the power of Skeletor." "Master," Tri-Klops interrupted, his scanner eye detecting incoming signatures. Multiple contacts approaching. Fast. Not separatist. Republic reinforcements. Then we'll destroy them too, Skeletor said dismissively. No. Evil-Lyn's voice was sharp. Master, look at the energy signatures. These aren't standard soldiers. Her mystical senses flared with warning. These are the ones Count Dooku mentioned. The Force wielders. The Jedi. Skeletor's yellow eyes gleamed with anticipation, rather than concern. Perfect. Let them come. Let these Jedi see what happens when they face true dark power. In space above the moon, 3 Republic attack cruisers dropped from hyperspace. Aboard the lead vessel, Jedi Master Mace Windu studied the battle reports with growing concern. Strange beings wielding impossible abilities had decimated a Republic stronghold. Count Dooku's presence at the battle site suggested separatist involvement, but the tactics were unlike anything in separatist databases. Prepare dropships, Windu commanded. All Jedi to combat stations. Whatever these entities are, they end today. The Jedi dropships descended through the thin atmosphere like silver daggers. Mace Windu led the assault personally, a decision born from necessity rather than preference. The Council had sensed a massive disturbance in the Force, a corruption that felt wrong in ways even the dark side didn't. Whatever these invaders were, they warranted the attention of the Order's finest. Beside him stood Jedi Knights Ila Secura and Kit Fisto, both proven warriors of the Clone Wars. Behind them, 20 Jedi from various temples across the galaxy, masters, knights, and skilled Padawans. The largest Jedi strike force assembled in months, all converging on a lunar outpost that should have been a minor skirmish. Master Windu. Ayla's voice carried concern. I sense darkness below, but it's fractured, not unified like Sith presence. Multiple sources, chaotic. I feel it too, Kit Fisto confirmed, his tentacles writhing with unease, like staring into a storm that doesn't follow natural laws. Windu's expression remained impassive. Then we proceed with caution. These beings defeated Captain Rex's garrison, seasoned troops who've survived encounters with Grievous and Dooku. Do not underestimate them. The dropships landed in a defensive formation. Jedi emerged with lightsabers ignited, blue, green, purple blades casting light across the devastated outpost. Clone reinforcements spread into tactical positions, but the Jedi moved forward as a unified force. Skeletor stood waiting, the Havoc staff planted before him like a banner of conquest. His evil warriors flanked him. Beastman's savage anticipation, Trapjaw's mechanical readiness, Evil-Lyn's mystical preparation, Tri-Klops' calculated assessment, Mer-Man's aquatic menace. Behind them, confused battle droids awaited orders, uncertain how to process what was about to unfold. So, Skeletor's voice echoed across the lunar plain. The mighty Jedi finally arrive. I've heard tales of your force powers, your laser swords, your vaunted peacekeeping. Let's see if you're worthy of your reputation. Mace Windu stepped forward, his purple blade held in perfect Varpad stance, the aggressive Form 7 that channeled darkness without succumbing to it. Surrender now. You've attacked the Republic, destroyed military assets, and killed soldiers. The Council will show mercy if you submit peacefully. Skeletor's laugh was genuine amusement. Mercy. Mercy. I am Skeletor, Overlord of Evil. I don't beg for mercy. I grant none. He raised the Havoc staff, and purple energy crackled along its length. Come then, Jedi. Taste the power of true darkness. The battle erupted, with devastating intensity. Windu moved first, his force-enhanced speed closing the distance in heartbeats. His purple blade struck at Skeletor's defenses, but mystical barriers intercepted the blow. Unlike when Dooku had attacked, these barriers didn't merely hold. They pushed back, forcing Windu to redirect his momentum. Interesting, the Jedi Master observed coldly. Your power operates outside the Force, but power without discipline is merely chaos. And discipline without ambition is merely slavery, Skeletor countered. He thrust the Havoc staff forward, and magical lightning erupted. Not the refined elegance of Force lightning, but raw, destructive force that sought to overwhelm rather than control. Windu's lightsaber intercepted the lightning, his blade acting as a grounding rod. The purple plasma absorbed and redirected the magical energy, but the sheer intensity forced him to brace his stance. Around them, the battle expanded as other Jedi engaged the evil warriors. Aayla Secura faced Trap Jaw with acrobatic grace, her blue blade carved through his laser fire, each deflection precise and controlled. But Trap Jaw's mechanical arms switched configurations mid-combat. Grappling hook launched, she dodged. Plasma blade extended, she parried. His adaptability forced her to constantly adjust, her Jedi training meeting its match in Eternian engineering. You fight well for a primitive, Trap Jaw's mechanical jaw clicked. But I've upgraded mid-battle 1,000 times. Can your fancy sword keep up? The Force guides my blade, Aayla replied, her movements flowing like water. Your technology is impressive, but predictable. She proved it by sensing his next weapon switch through the Force, anticipating the sonic cannon before it fired, and Force pushing him backward. Trapjaw crashed into lunar rock, but his reinforced body absorbed the impact. He rose laughing, already recalibrating. Kit Fisto confronted Mer-Man near the subsurface water reserves, their aquatic natures creating a unique battlefield. Mer-Man's trident channeled power through the water, but Kit's Nautolan physiology and deep connection to aquatic environments gave him natural advantages. Water warrior meets water warrior, Kit observed with his characteristic smile. But I was born in the ocean. This is my element. Then drown in it, Mer-Man roared, his trident creating a massive pressure wave. Kit rode the wave with force-enhanced control, his green blade striking at Mer-Man's defenses. Their battle became a dance of water manipulation. Mer-Man's mystical control versus Kit's force mastery. The aquifer became their arena, pressure and current their weapons. Beastman faced 3 Jedi Knights simultaneously, his controlled creatures, lunar predators and imported beasts from Snake Mountain's remains, forming a savage army. But the Jedi's force connection allowed them to sense animal intent before attacks landed. They moved as one, their lightsabers creating a defensive perimeter that Beastman's horde couldn't penetrate. Beasts obey Beastman, he roared in frustration. But the Force connects all living things, one knight replied calmly. We feel their fear, their pain. Release them from your control. Beastman's response was another savage roar and redoubled effort. If brute force wasn't working, he'd use more of it. Evil-Lyn faced the most dangerous challenge. Multiple Jedi working in coordinated assault. Her sorcery was powerful, but the Jedi's synchronized attacks forced her into pure defense. She conjured barriers, redirected lightsaber strikes with telekinetic force, even managed to momentarily blind one attacker with illusion magic. But she was one sorceress against disciplined warriors who'd trained together for years. Master, she called out, her voice strained. Their coordination is exceptional. I can't... Skeletor heard her distress, even while battling Windu. With a snarl of rage, he unleashed a massive wave of dark energy that forced every combatant to pause. The shockwave rolled across the battlefield, disrupting Jedi concentration and giving the evil warriors breathing room. Impressive, Windu acknowledged, his blade never wavering. Raw power, inadequately controlled. You could have been a Sith Lord in another life. Sith, Skeletor's voice dripped with contempt. I've heard that word. Dooku mentioned it. Tell me, Jedi, are these Sith your great enemies? Your terrible darkness? He laughed bitterly. I am beyond such petty labels. I am the overlord of evil, and I will not be categorized by your limited philosophies. Windu's eyes narrowed. Then you'll die uncategorized. He pressed his attack with Varpad's full fury, the form that walked the razor's edge between light and dark, channeling aggression without falling to it. His purple blade became a blur of strikes, each one testing Skeletor's defenses, seeking weaknesses in the magical barriers. Skeletor matched him with sorcerous might, but Windu's decades of experience showed. The Jedi Master wasn't trying to overpower. He was analyzing, learning, adapting. Each exchange taught him more about how Skeletor's magic functioned, where its limits lay. You're skilled, Skeletor admitted, grudgingly. More than the fool Dooku. But skill alone won't save you. He slammed the Havoc Staff into the ground, and the entire battlefield trembled. Fissures opened, mystical energy erupting from below. Jedi scattered, their concentration broken by the environmental chaos. Evil warriors, Skeletor's command echoed. Retreat to the transports. We've made our point. Running, Windu called out, pursuing even as Evil-Lyn's teleportation spell began pulling the warriors toward waiting separatist ships. I thought you feared nothing, Overlord. Skeletor's yellow eyes blazed with fury. I fear nothing, Jedi, but even I recognize when tactical withdrawal serves better than pointless struggle. His form shimmered as Evil-Lyn's magic took hold. Remember this day, when Skeletor fought the Jedi to a standstill. Next time, I won't be so merciful. The evil warriors vanished in flashes of mystical light, leaving the Jedi standing among ruins and devastation. Windu deactivated his lightsaber, his expression troubled. Report casualties. 3 Jedi wounded, none dead. Ayla reported, but, Master, what were they? That power wasn't the Force, but it was just as dangerous. I don't know. The Windu Separatist Council quietly. Chamber on Raxus Secundus, but their allied monument to corporate power. We need to representatives from the Trade Federation, Banking Clan, Techno Union, and Commerce Guild gathered in a circular arrangement designed to project unified authority. They had assembled for a routine strategic briefing. What they received was a hostile takeover. Skeletor materialized in the chamber's center through Evil-Lyn's teleportation spell, the Havoc Staff crackling with dark energy. His evil warriors emerged from shadows and doorways, surrounding the startled separatist leadership before security droids could respond. Gentlemen, Skeletor's voice echoed through the chamber, your war has been inefficient. Your leadership divided. Your strategies predictable. He raised the Havoc Staff. I'm here to offer new management. Newt Gunry's mechanical chair whirred backward in alarm. This is outrageous. Count Dooku serves a hidden master, Skeletor interrupted. As do you all, but I serve only myself. His yellow eyes swept across the council. Pledge loyalty to me, grant me control of your droid armies and resources, and I'll deliver the Republic's destruction within months. Refuse. Purple lightning crackled along the staff. and I'll find leaders more amenable to cooperation. Wat Tambor's vocabulator processed the threat clinically. You propose rebellion within a rebellion. Illogical. The Confederacy functions through collective leadership, and Trapjaw's laser cannon obliterated Tambor's desk, cutting off the objection. Master Skeletor doesn't propose. He commands. The chamber doors burst open. Battle droids flooded in, weapons raised, but they targeted the evil warriors, not the council. And leading them was Count Dooku, his expression one of aristocratic disappointment. Really, Skeletor, Dooku's cultured voice carried across the chaos. A coup? How predictably crude. Did you truly believe I wouldn't anticipate this? He activated his crimson lightsaber. I've been orchestrating galactic politics since before your dimension existed. Every contingency, every betrayal, every possible variable, calculated and prepared for. Skeletor's laugh was defiant. You anticipated wrong, Count. My power exceeds your preparations. He thrust the Havoc staff forward, purple lightning erupting toward Dooku. The Sith Lord's lightsaber intercepted the attack, but this time, Skeletor poured everything into the assault. The concentrated magical energy forced Dooku backward, his refined technique struggling against overwhelming force. The chamber's walls cracked under the pressure of their clashing powers. Evil warriors, Skeletor commanded. Secure the council. Kill anyone who... Reality itself seemed to darken. A presence entered the chamber. Not physical, but through the force with such intensity that even Skeletor's magical senses recoiled. The holographic projectors activated without command, and Darth Sidious appeared in massive scale, his hooded form dominating the space. Enough! The Sith Lord's voice carried absolute authority. You've made your play, Skeletor. Now face the consequences of challenging a Sith Lord's domain. Through the Force, Sidious seized every battle droid simultaneously. Hundreds of mechanical soldiers turned their weapons on the evil warriors in perfect synchronization. Beastman roared as blaster fire converged on his position. Tri-Klops' tactical eye calculated impossible odds. Even Trapjaw's reinforced armor couldn't withstand concentrated fire from all directions. Master! Evil-Lyn's voice was urgent as she conjured protective barriers. We're surrounded. This was a trap. No, Dooku corrected, pressing his lightsaber attack against Skeletor's defenses. This was inevitability. My master predicted your betrayal the moment we met. Every battle you've fought, every victory you've claimed, all calculated steps leading you here to this moment of hubris. Skeletor snarled with rage, his mystical barriers holding against both Dooku's blade and droid fire. You think yourselves clever? I've faced setbacks before. I've been defeated, cast down, humiliated, and every time I returned stronger. Then learn this lesson, Sidious's hologram commanded. Through the Force, he demonstrated power that made even Skeletor pause. The chamber's ceiling tore away, ripped open by invisible telekinetic might. Debris floated in midair, controlled with precision that showcased decades of mastery. I am not He-Man stumbling through heroics. I am not Castle Grayskull's passive power. I am Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith, and I have orchestrated the fall of an entire republic while you failed to conquer a single planet. The debris launched simultaneously. Dozens of durasteel fragments accelerated to lethal velocity. Evil-Lyn's barriers intercepted some, but others struck home. Beastman howled as metal pierced his shoulder. Mer-Man's armor cracked under impact. Even Skeletor staggered as a beam struck his skull face, sending him crashing backward. Dooku seized the opportunity, his lightsaber striking at Skeletor's exposed position. The blade met the Havoc Staff in a shower of sparks. Mystical energy against plasma blade, neither yielding. But Dooku's centuries of experience showed as he transitioned smoothly into Form 2's precise thrusts, each one testing Skeletor's hastily reformed defenses. "You're powerful," Dooku acknowledged, his blade work never faltering. "Perhaps the most powerful being I've faced aside from my master. But power without planning is merely chaos." His lightsaber found a gap, slicing through Skeletor's purple armor and drawing a line across his ribs. And chaos always loses to order. Skeletor screamed in pain and fury. The Havoc Staff erupted with desperate energy, forcing Dooku back through sheer force rather than technique. But the damage was done. Blood seeped from the wound, proving that Skeletor could be hurt, could bleed, could potentially die. "Retreat!" Evil-Lyn's command overrode her master's pride. Her teleportation spell activated, pulling the evil warriors toward her position. "Master, now!" Skeletor wanted to fight, to prove his superiority, to crush these arrogant schemers. But survival instinct, honed through countless defeats on Eternia, finally overcame pride. He allowed the teleportation magic to take him, vanishing from the chamber in a flash of purple light alongside his warriors. They reappeared aboard a stolen separatist transport, already fleeing into hyperspace coordinates Evil-Lyn had prepared for exactly this contingency. The ship shuddered under emergency acceleration, leaving Raxus Secundus behind. In the council chamber, Sidious's hologram regarded Dooku with satisfaction. "Well executed, Lord Tyrannus. The serpent showed his fangs and we cut them down." "He'll return," Dooku warned, deactivating his lightsaber. "Wounded pride fuels his kind. He won't forget this humiliation." "Good," Sidious replied. "Let him stew in defeat. Let him plan revenge. And when he inevitably strikes again," the Sith Lord's eyes glowed with malevolent pleasure, "we'll be ready to end him permanently." On the fleeing transport, Skeletor clutched his wounded side, yellow eyes burning with hatred deeper than any he'd felt, even for He-Man. He'd been outmaneuvered, outplanned, defeated not through superior power, but through superior strategy. "Master," Evil-Lyn began carefully, "we need to regroup. Find allies. Build strength before..." "Before what?" Skeletor's voice was quiet, dangerous. "Before we challenge them again? Before we admit defeat?" He looked at his assembled warriors, wounded, battered, but alive. "No, we don't retreat to safety. We retreat to prepare." His grip on the Havoc Staff tightened. "Sidious and Dooku think they've won. Let them believe it. But I swear by every dark power in existence, I will have my revenge. And this galaxy will kneel before Skeletor." 3 weeks after his humiliating defeat, Skeletor had disappeared into the Outer Rim's most lawless sectors. The Separatists assumed he was licking his wounds. The Republic had larger concerns. Even Darth Sidious believed the dimensional invader neutralized as a threat. All of them were wrong. The ancient Sith temple on Malachor existed in galactic records only as archaeological rumor. A forbidden world where dark side energy concentrated so densely that the very ground bled malevolence. Evil-Lyn had discovered references in captured separatist databases, recognizing it as exactly what her master needed: a nexus of dark power to amplify his sorcery. Skeletor stood at the temple's heart, the Havoc Staff planted in a ritual circle carved from black stone. Around him, his evil warriors maintained defensive positions, while their master attempted something unprecedented: merging Eternian magic with the dark side of the Force itself. "Master, this is dangerous," Evil-Lyn warned, her mystical senses screaming warnings. "The energies here are immense. If you lose control—" "I won't," Skeletor growled. Purple energy from the Havoc Staff intertwined with red darkness rising from Malachor's depths. The two powers circled each other like predators, neither quite merging, neither quite rejecting. Sidious thinks the Force is supreme. Dooku believes his Sith training makes him invincible. I'll show them that magic predates their precious Force, that power exists beyond their narrow understanding. The ritual intensified. Skeletor's skeletal form blazed with combined energies. Purple sorcery enhanced by crimson dark side power. His yellow eyes burned brighter, his presence in both magical and Force spectrums amplifying exponentially. Then the temple's perimeter alarms activated. Multiple contacts approaching from different vectors. "Master!" Tri-Klops' scanner eye detected the arrivals. Two separate forces converging on our position. Separatist battle droids led by Count Dooku from the north. Republic gunships carrying Jedi from the south. We're about to be caught between them. Skeletor's laugh echoed through the temple, distorted by the energies flowing through him. Perfect. Let them all come. Let Jedi and Sith witness the birth of something beyond their comprehension. Count Dooku emerged from the tree line with a battalion of super battle droids and droidicas. His aristocratic composure was intact, but his eyes showed genuine concern at the energy readings emanating from the temple. Through the Force, he felt wrongness, magnifying. Skeletor was attempting something that violated fundamental laws. From the opposite direction, Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi led a strike team including Ahsoka, Tano, and 6 Jedi Knights. His lightsaber was already ignited, his voice carrying across the temple grounds. "Count Dooku, I don't know what's happening here, but if you're involved, it ends now." "For once, Kenobi, we may share common cause," Dooku replied, his own blade activating. "The creature inside is attempting to corrupt the Force itself. If he succeeds..." The temple exploded with dark energy. Skeletor emerged transformed. The Havoc Staff pulsed with combined might. Purple sorcery and crimson darkside energy woven together in an unstable but devastating fusion. His very presence distorted reality, making the air shimmer with power that belonged to neither the Force nor traditional magic, but something between. "Jedi, Sith, all who stand in my way." Skeletor's voice resonated with amplified power. Witness the dawn of a new order, where Skeletor reigns supreme. He thrust the Havoc Staff skyward, and the battlefield erupted into chaos. Dooku moved with Sith precision, his Force lightning striking at Skeletor's position, but the enhanced sorcerer deflected it casually, the combined energies making him resistant to pure Force attacks. "Your lightning is nothing, Count. I've absorbed the essence of Malachor itself." Obi-Wan and his Jedi rushed forward, their blue and green blades forming a coordinated assault pattern. But Skeletor's evil warriors intercepted them. Beastman's controlled creatures, corrupted by Malachor's darkness into savage aberrations, crashed into the Jedi lines. Trapjaw's enhanced weapon systems, powered by stolen separatist technology, carved through the battlefield with upgraded firepower. The three-way battle became a maelstrom of competing powers. Dooku's elegant Makashi form struck at both Skeletor and encroaching Jedi. Obi-Wan's Sorisu defense protected his team from both separatist droids and evil warriors. And Skeletor unleashed amplified sorcery against everyone, his megalomania demanding dominion over all. "This is madness," Ahsoka shouted, her dual lightsabers deflecting Beastman's controlled creatures. We need to work together to stop him. The Jedi working with Sith? Dooku's voice carried ironic amusement, even as he dueled Skeletor. Desperate times indeed. Desperate enough. Obi-Wan parried Tri-Klops' blaster fire, then made a snap decision. Dooku, you know this temple's structure. Where's the power source? The Sith Lord's eyes narrowed, calculating angles. Skeletor was powerful but unstable. If the ritual could be disrupted, the temple's foundation, destroy it, and the dark side energy disperses. Covering fire, Obi-Wan commanded. His Jedi adapted instantly, forming defensive positions while Dooku, incredibly, directed his droid forces to focus on the evil warriors rather than the Jedi. Skeletor sensed the shift, his enhanced awareness detecting the unlikely alliance forming against him. Fools! You think cooperation will save you? I am beyond your combined strength. He proved it by unleashing a wave of energy that forced both Jedi and Dooku to retreat. The Havoc Staff had become a conduit for powers this galaxy had never witnessed. Eternian sorcery amplified by one of the Force's darkest nexuses, wielded by a being whose ambition knew no limits. Evil-Lyn saw what her master couldn't, the instability. The energies weren't truly merged, they were contained through pure willpower. And willpower, no matter how strong, eventually faltered. Master, you must stop, she called out. The ritual isn't complete. You're channeling more power than your body can sustain. I am Skeletor, he roared back. I bow to no limitations. Obi-Wan and Dooku exchanged glances, a moment of understanding between eternal enemies. They moved simultaneously. Dooku's force lightning and Obi-Wan's force push, combining to strike not at Skeletor, but at the temple's foundation where the ritual circle was carved. The ancient stone cracked. The dark side nexus, disrupted from its focusing point, began to destabilize. And Skeletor, channeling both it and his own magic, suddenly found himself connected to a collapsing power source. No! His scream echoed across Malachor as energies backfired. The Havoc Staff blazed white-hot, burning his hands. The combined dark side and sorcerous power that had made him seemingly invincible now turned inward, tearing at his very essence. Evil-Lyn's teleportation spell activated desperately, pulling Skeletor and the evil warriors from ground zero as the temple imploded. They vanished in a flash of purple light, leaving Jedi and Sith standing in the ruins of what could have been Skeletor's ultimate triumph. Dooku deactivated his lightsaber, breathing heavily. He nearly succeeded. If that power had stabilized, but it didn't, Obi-Wan finished. Sometimes the greatest threats defeat themselves. He turned to face Dooku fully. This doesn't change what you are, Count. Next time we meet, we'll be enemies again, Dooku acknowledged. But today, we prevented something worse than either the Republic or Confederacy. He signaled his droids to withdraw. Until we meet again, Kenobi. The stolen freighter drifted through the Outer Rim's uncharted sectors, its systems damaged but functional. In the cargo hold converted to a command center, Skeletor sat in brooding silence, his skeletal hands still bearing burn marks from the Havoc Staff's backfire. The weapon itself rested beside him, dimmed but intact, a testament to Eternian craftsmanship, that it had survived energies that would have destroyed lesser artifacts. Evil-Lyn approached cautiously, medical supplies in hand. Master, your wounds need treatment. The dark side energy caused internal damage that sorcery alone can't. Leave it. Skeletor's voice was quiet, lacking its usual bombastic fury. That worried her more than rage would have. Pain is instructive. It teaches lessons success never could. She knelt beside him anyway, applying regenerative salves to the worst burns. What lesson did this teach you, Master? Skeletor was silent for a long moment, his yellow eyes staring at nothing. That I approached this galaxy wrong. On Eternia, I fought He-Man directly. Power against power, force against force. I lost repeatedly because I never understood that raw strength isn't enough. He flexed his damaged hands. But here, I've faced beings who understand something I didn't. That true conquest requires more than might. Sidious controls a galaxy through manipulation and patience. Dooku commands armies through strategy and alliances. Even those Jedi win through discipline and coordination. So you're admitting defeat? Evil-Lyn couldn't keep the surprise from her voice. Defeat? Skeletor's laugh returned, darker and colder than before. No, I'm admitting education. He stood, ignoring the pain, and moved to the viewport where stars streaked past in hyperspace. I came to this galaxy thinking it would be like Eternia, just larger. I was wrong. This place operates on different rules, plays games on scales I never imagined. Beastman shuffled forward, confused by his master's uncharacteristic introspection. Master Skeletor not conquer galaxy. Oh, I will, Skeletor replied with certainty that sent chills through Evil-Lyn. But not today. Not through brute force and grand declarations. He turned to face his assembled warriors, battered, wounded, but loyal. We've been playing their game, following their rules, joining their factions. That ends now. Trapjaw's mechanical jaw clicked with interest. New strategy, Master. Precisely. Skeletor activated the holographic star map they'd stolen from separatist databases. Entire sectors lit up. The Outer Rim's lawless expanse, worlds beyond Republic or separatist control. Out here, no one watches. No Jedi patrols, no Sith manipulation, no Senate oversight. Just scattered settlements, criminal enterprises, and independent systems desperate for protection. Or subjugation. Evil-Lyn's eyes widened with understanding. You're going to build your own territory. Not conquer the galaxy immediately, but carve out a power base first. Now, you see. Skeletor's skeletal grin returned. Let Sidious play his political games on Coruscant. Let Dooku command his droid armies. Let the Jedi spread themselves thin fighting a war. While they exhaust themselves, I'll build an empire in the shadows. World by world, system by system, until I command resources and forces that dwarf anything on Eternia. He pointed to a cluster of systems. We start here. The Gordian Reach. Isolated, resource-rich. Currently controlled by feuding criminal syndicates. They need a strong hand to unite them. Tri-Klops studied the tactical display. Master. Those syndicates include Hutt operations, Black Sun elements, and independent pirate fleets. They won't submit easily. Good, Skeletor replied. I need challenges that sharpen my skills, not more humiliating lessons. He retrieved the Havoc staff, its power already regenerating. But we do this differently. We don't announce ourselves as conquerors. We offer services, mercenary work, protection, problem solving that only our unique abilities can provide. We make ourselves indispensable, and once they depend on us. His grip tightened on the staff. We reveal the chains we've woven. Mer-Man hissed approval. Cunning, like deep-water predator. Circle prey before strike. Exactly. Skeletor studied his warriors, seeing them with new clarity. Beastman, your creature control makes you perfect for managing hostile worlds. Trapjaw, Your technical expertise will help us modernize Eternian technology with this galaxy's innovations. Tri-Klops, your tactical mind will plan our campaigns. Mer-Man will find you oceanic worlds to dominate. And Evil-Lyn, he met her eyes. Your caution has saved us repeatedly. I should have listened more. Evil-Lyn felt something unprecedented. Her master acknowledging mistakes, showing growth. Perhaps this defeat had changed him in ways countless failures on Eternia never had. What about the Separatists? She asked. Dooku and Sidious won't forget you. Let them remember, Skeletor declared. Let them wonder where I went, what I'm planning. By the time they think to look for me again, I'll have transformed from hunted refugee into established power. His yellow eyes gleamed with renewed ambition. Sidious orchestrated this clone wars as a tool for his rise. I'll use the chaos it creates to build my own foundation. And when the war ends, when he reveals himself and establishes his empire, he'll find I've claimed territory he cannot easily take. And the Jedi? Trapjaw asked. We'll be too busy dying in Sidious's trap to concern themselves with Outer Rim warlords. Skeletor replied darkly. I've seen enough to know that Sith Lord has something terrible planned for them. When it happens, the galaxy will be in upheaval. Perfect conditions for someone cunning enough to exploit the chaos. The freighter dropped from hyperspace near a dusty world called Shrilo, home to Wike pirates and criminal enterprises that had operated independently for generations. On the planet's surface, crime lords warred over territory and resources, unaware that something from outside their galaxy had arrived to change everything. Send them a message, Skeletor commanded. Inform the strongest warlord that a new power offers alliance. Someone who can provide abilities they've never encountered in exchange for initial resources and territory. And if they refuse? Evil-Lyn asked, already knowing the answer. Skeletor's laugh echoed through the ship. Then we demonstrate why refusal is unwise. But subtly this time. Surgical strikes rather than grand battles. Fear and respect rather than overwhelming force. He moved toward the ship's armory, his damaged body already healing through sorcery and sheer willpower. I've learned patience at last, Evil-Lyn. The hard way, as always, but I've learned. As the message transmitted, Skeletor gazed at the planet below, the first of many he would claim. Across the galaxy, Jedi fought and died in the Clone Wars. Sidious manipulated events toward his ultimate victory. Dooku commanded armies, in service to hidden agendas. And none of them realized that the skeletal sorcerer they dismissed as defeated was beginning a slow, methodical conquest that would eventually force them all to acknowledge his power. He'd failed to conquer Eternia in years of trying, but he had decades, perhaps centuries, to conquer this galaxy. And this time he wouldn't fail through impatience and pride. This time Skeletor would win through the very qualities his enemies valued: strategy, patience, and careful planning. Combined with his raw power and the unique abilities of his evil warriors, he would become something this galaxy had never faced. A Dark Lord who learned from defeat instead of repeating it. The Outer Rim was vast. The galaxy was at war, and in the shadows beyond civilized space, the overlord of evil began building an empire that would one day challenge everything. Skeletor's arrival in the Star Wars galaxy had been explosive, chaotic, and ultimately humbling. He'd faced the Jedi's discipline, the Sith's cunning, and learned that raw power alone couldn't conquer a civilization spanning millions of worlds. But unlike his countless failures on Eternia, this defeat had taught him something He-Man never could: that true conquest required adaptation. In the Outer Rim's lawless expanse, beyond the sight of Republic and Separatist, the evil warriors began their methodical rise. World by world, system by system, Skeletor built what he'd never achieved on Eternia. An actual empire, founded not on failed assaults, but on careful strategy. Criminal syndicates found themselves outmaneuvered by sorcery they couldn't comprehend. Independent worlds discovered that allying with the skeletal warlord brought protection and prosperity, at the price of loyalty. And while the Clone Wars raged, while Sidious executed his grand plan and the Jedi marched toward their doom, a dimensional invader transformed from laughingstock conqueror into legitimate galactic power. The galaxy would eventually notice. Sidious would eventually care. Dooku would eventually realize his mistake in letting Skeletor escape. And when that day came, they would face not the arrogant fool who'd crash-landed on Sereno, but something far more dangerous. A Skeletor who'd learned patience, strategy, and how to play the long game. The Overlord of Evil had entered a new universe. Now he would claim it, one calculated move at a time. And in the shadows of the Outer Rim, watching hyperlanes and gathering power, Skeletor smiled his skeletal grin and planned the conquest that would make even Darth Sidious tremble. His war had only begun, and this time he would not fail. May the Force be with you. More stories await.